Welcome to Money Convos, where we discuss personal finance and investment tips. We're committed to helping people create wealth and achieve financial freedom. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. All right then, let's head into today's conversation.
Hi, Prince. I've invited you up. Please check your notifications or request the mic.
Yo, Alekem, what's up?
Oh, my boss, I'm fine. How about you?
I'm doing good.
Nice. You went to church today?
Today I couldn't make it to church.
Hey.
It's
Who are you?
Oh, I think what happened was it was raining in the morning, and I decided to join them online rather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, these days, I should tease Sarah. We're doing something yesterday, and I asked, okay, how many webinars have we done? She mentioned a number, and then later she was like, how many? And then we've also done seminars. I was like, wait, was the seminar online or in person? She was like, it was online. I was like, yeah. And no, webinar. No, that's the webinar. It's become, it's been a while since I heard this cliche word, but the new normal.
Right? Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, so now, please, when somebody asks if you went to church, I think you can use it interchangeably. Or do you feel like there's a difference between the two?
Well, I don't think there's a difference.
You have full attention when you're online. Don't worry. Don't need to answer the question. You'll have to answer the question. Man, interesting. Yeah, Charlie, how's your week going?
Oh, it was great. Actually, was up chasing some clients for some premiums, and I think it went well. Yeah, it went well, and I made some money. The week here, so pay for the bed this week. We're having a West Africa. We're having a training, insurance training. So we are having it at Accra City Hotel. Yeah. So starting from tomorrow to Thursday, I won't be at the office. I'll be at the training.
Wow. Will you be sleeping there, or you just go there from home? Oh, yes, Ruth.
Yes, let me land here for the time being.
Okay. All right, that's good. I love that hotel, man. I have some good friends who work there.
Oh, okay.
And I'm glad to hear that, Charlie, things are going on well for you. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah, thanks.
We've got this new timing for Money Convos and Sunday nights in Ghana. So I can imagine it'll take a while for people to get used to it, but we'll go ahead and start the conversation. And the idea really is we try to start pushing the on-demand listening. That's people who come and listen to the recorded version on podcast and the YouTube. So we could get started here. I'll try to prompt Mimi and Serum and the others.
Okay.
Actually, just give me a moment. Let me drop it.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So, Charlie Prince, today's conversation, what got me? Something got me thinking about this. I was hanging out with some people, and these people were properly financially independent.
Okay.
Proper financial independence. I'm not talking about, they are okay. It's not just okay, not just independent. They are even colonizers.
Okay.
But anyway, and when you hang out with some of these people, you realize that there's a whole different mindset. There's a whole different bravado. There's a whole different way they move.
Yeah.
And it's the confidence that their pockets are filled. Their accounts have multiple digits. It's just a certain presence when you're around these people. The kind of ideas that they talk about. Of course, it's not always that, everyone is also uptight, being serious, brokering business deals. Even the way that they play, and I'm not talking about just the glamorous Instagram travel here and there, right? but then just somehow their perspectives about life. And one of the things is a conversation we'll have next week. I'm trying to line up some speakers about people who come from the diaspora and how they set up business. But another angle too is the emotional, the non-tangible side of financial independence. We know that money can get you physical things, the cars, the jewelry, the property, all those things, you know, but there's a certain intangible stuff that money brings. And that's what we want to discuss. I'll give you a story of my experience when I realized I was at a certain level where my head was finally above water. This was sometime in 2021. If you recall, I fell sick in 2021.
Yeah.
And so even before that, just a preamble, you know, as we are growing up, we finish when we are in university, you know, or even high school, you've always been a child, you know, always been told to be humble, to be respectful, blah, 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 right? So go through life like that. I start working, I even have some money in my pocket. That's fine, but I'll always treat people with respect. This conversation is not necessarily about disrespecting people, but it's about a certain healthy level of respect, right? And so I always be patient. And I worked in certain roles early on that I interacted with a lot of people. So I had some in a customer service kind of way. So I had empathy for people delivering service. So if I see that, okay, my network, they are misbehaving or the bank is misbehaving, I'm trying to get it resolved. I'll be patient. I'll give them 2-3 tries before I lash out or I tell them factually, hey, listen, don't do this way, blah, blah, blah. I can't take this, you know. So as I grew older, you know, the more confidence, the more these experiences, the more annoying it became. Then when I fell sick in late July 2021, it was one day I was supposed to go meet up with Danielle. It's been a while since she joined our space. But I was supposed to meet up with her around lunchtime, but I was like, nah, I've been busy all week and I've been taking some part of my health serious. Let me go to the hospital, just see what's going on, and I'll meet up with her later. So I went to the hospital. They said, okay, I should run a bunch of tests. I went to the lab, found out which lab was Saturday, which lab will be open. I went to this a place that they do scans, and I told this, and yeah, I think it was my second scan of the day or so. It was a CT scan, or was it an MRI? You know, you lie in one of those machines, then they slide you in that thing.
No, that is MRI.
MRI, okay, all right, MRI. So I got in there and I entered the room. The nurse or the attendant there or the operator said, let me just say, let me just call her a nurse, right? She said, okay, have a, what did she say? Have a seat or something like that. So I got in, I was waiting. You know, it's her office. She needs to tell me what to do. So she left the room and she came back and she was like, why haven't you undressed? Why haven't you done this? Why are you standing here? I was like, and at that point, you know, my sickness, it was my stomach area was hurting a lot. And I was managing the pain and it was talking to me that way. I was like, so first, as I told her, first of all, you didn't tell me to do anything. I came into the room, you just told me to sit there and I did exactly what you told me. You didn't tell me to do any of those other things. Secondly, I'm a paying customer. You can't talk to me like this. You know, and she was like, okay, sorry. Or she went silent or something. We did the MRI. When it was over and I was leaving the room, she apologized to me. And this is someone who I think she's at the time she was probably in her late 30s. That's what I think. I may be wrong. And she apologized. Sorry, I didn't do well when I spoke to you. Massive respect to her. Massive respect. It's one thing for someone to make a mistake. It's another thing for the person to own up to that mistake.
Sure.
But you know, that day, I was in a lot of pain. And, you know, and at that point, I didn't know how bad it was. Later, I found out it was really, really bad. If you guys recall, like in a few days, I found out it was really, really bad. But then all through that day, in fact, even before that hospital, someone was supposed to give me just make a note because my pain was so bad. They had to give me something with, is it an with restricted substances, but they didn't note on the prescription that give me certain details of the doctor. So I had to come back to the hospital from the pharmacy because that clinic's own pharmacy didn't have it. And the person was trying to not let me go see the doctor. I'm like, what do you mean? Let me just go see the doctor. Let me write this. Eventually, I was like, go talk to the doctor. When the person came back, the doctor and I went to see the doctor. I was like, oh, simple. Yeah, he just wrote the thing quickly. I was like, so this receptionist sitting there, and I told her, you are standing between me and my pain relief and my solution to my sickness. And it's all I need is just a few strokes of a pen. What's going on here? And all throughout that time, at that point, it was the end of the month. They had just paid. So they had enough money in my bank account. And any bill that they were staying, if it's not covered by if it's not like going to be billed to my company, I have to go to a private thing and get reimbursement later. No problem. I just pull out my card, I pay. Everything, I just pull out my card, I pay. Don't talk too much. Just, now we are calling family meeting. Give me my solution, let me go. Only to come to you and you're offering me such crappy service. At that point, I was like, I wasn't having it. I wasn't having it. So yeah, what's the moral of these two anecdotes I've said? When people reach a certain level of financial independence, they just want to take some things. When you are less fortunate, or you have, we are talking about money. When you don't have enough money, when you are poor, humility is forced upon you. You just shut up and take whatever treatment people are giving you. So today, as we are talking, the goal is, to try to motivate people about other reasons why they should take financial independence seriously. Yes, there's a nice cars. The guys, you like to chase women, go traveling, sponsor people, do all those things. The women, their jewelry, their fashion, all those things, or they'll keep it to buy a house while they spend their husband money. But anyway, side matter. But all those good stuff, right? It's there, it's fine. But there are certain intangible things. There's the respect, there's the confidence, there's the availability of options that makes you move in life freely. That makes you move in a way that very few people can impede your progress. And that's what we want to talk about. So yeah, I've started with an anecdote, a personal story. Who'd like to continue on? I see Adam is here. Adam, welcome. How you doing? Okay, I'll let Adam gather himself, returning from church. So yeah, Prince, how about you? Let's start with you. Do you have any such experiences where you felt like, no, as you are growing up now, finally, Charlie, the confidence has come and you can speak power, truth to authority, or those expressions that they say?
Okay, so that being said, I think me as a person, I've also been at that stage before. When that you don't have much on you. There are certain instances that you, even if they are treating you bad, you cannot stand up and insist on your right. Let me put it that way. Yeah. So there's been a couple of instances where you don't have. I didn't have money, and there were certain things that happened, and because I didn't have money, I couldn't insist on the right things being done. Yeah. So for me, I think that this is exactly what Money Convos is about. We talk about money, and the ultimate goal is for our audience and everyone who by chance will listen to our podcasts and everything, will get to understand that it's very important that we all try to achieve financial independence, because if you look at the world, for as Alekem said, the cars and all those things, it's really, you definitely get them if you attain financial independence. But for me, what I think achieving financial independence also bring to you is the kind of relationship and the kind of people that it gives you that liberty for you to meet, because there are people that will only draw friendship from people who are affluent, who also have money. Who know their left from their right. And for me, that speaks too much for me, because for the material things, it will come and go, but the personal relationships that you build and the kind of people that you can associate yourself with. I mean, they can bring you breakthroughs that, I mean, you can quantify that in money, right? Yeah. So I will cite an example of somebody I know. I think I got to know this man through my professional course. Yeah, I think he's somebody who he's a lecturer actually, but when I met him, he used to play golf, right? And at a point, I think when I started my diploma, I wanted to also play golf. So I didn't know what really goes into it. I didn't know the money aspect and all. And he was like, "Friends, you want to play golf? The golf set itself is more than let me say it's more than your salary for maybe about 3 months, because this man knew actually what I earned at that point in time. So he told me that, oh Prince, this one you see me playing it, but for me it's this money is not anything for me. So I'll encourage you that you take your time. I know as you progress through the course, things will get better, and now you'll be in a position to join me and let's play it. I was like, okay. So we became friends. I finished my level 1, did level 2, and then I was on the level 3. And I think from that on, it started reflecting in the kind of compensation I was getting at work. Yeah. So I think it got to a point that I don't see certain money as money. Let me put it that way. Not to say I'm bluffing or anything, but just to say that, growing up, there was some kind of money that when I see, like, I wouldn't think about me earning that much. So even the little that I was earning, I was managing. So when I started doing this course, that it started paving way for me at work, and I started earning certain things and all that thing, I felt there were certain monies that it wasn't money. If I mean you dash somebody 1,000 Ghana, I don't see it like you've done anything extraordinary. Previously, I couldn't do that because I wasn't earning much. But now that things started getting better, I mean, I can do that. So I got to know this man, and then I had to do something at the ministry. Me and my partner, we came up with a company, and we were trying to get something done. So we were pulling the thing, it wasn't coming to, and I spoke to the man, and the man was like, oh, he knows somebody at the place. And it was like, oh, go and see the person. I just went, and I mean, it's the door just opened for us to get that particular thing we were looking for. And for me, that is something that resonates well with me, because if it wasn't that person, the kind of relationship I've built with the person, and how the man wanted me to, I mean, take being financially independent serious, I wouldn't think that I could have maintained that relationship. I've been to the golf course once, twice, and the kind of caliber of people you meet. I mean, if you are not looking at attaining financial independence, I don't think you can be in the circle of such people, because all of them, their mindset is different, and it's like their focus is different. What they are aspiring to achieve is also different, and it inspires you. And from that facility, I've gotten a couple of businesses that ordinarily I wouldn't meet these people anywhere. I can't meet them anywhere to get those businesses, but it's basically because I find myself there, and my lecturer happened to introduce me to them that, oh, this is a young guy coming up. He's very good. And I mean, he's into insurance. All your insurance, he can take cover for you. And I just got those businesses. For me, it's the kind of like the connections and then the relationship that financial independence have made me build over the period of time. And I'll share this last story before I give the platform to. So, growing up, sometimes I'll go to the barbering shop, and it's like, Sikana yeje wono krano. It's so, you feel like it's so much into when the barber is doing certain things, you can't even opt out. As in, maybe he using the clipper, not, I mean, using the spray to, I mean, sterilize it before using it on your hair. I couldn't speak up. I was like, hey, I just want this man to do it and get it done. But when things started getting better, when I come, I'll make sure that I will insist that, Charlie, you need to do this, you need to do that, until I bought my own set of clippers. Now when I go, I take my own set of clippers, and I know that any issue with you being infected with any other thing is a thing of the past. I don't think about it. So when I go, I know that it's my own clippers. They use it on me, and I'm cool. So for me, it's something that each and everyone on the call should look up to. You should aspire. I mean, it's not an easy journey, but I feel that the more you are with us and the more we talk about this kind of always encouraging ourselves to attain it, I think the more you become conscious of it, and then you also pursue it. Thank you, Elike.
Thank you, Prince. These are interesting anecdotes you've given. I like the golf example. The Baba one, I think we can all relate to it. But there are some people who are stubborn proud. Those people there, they will tell the Baba at any cost. But yeah, it's about getting value for money, right? Insisting on the value for money. Very soon we even get into like the political and social arena, right? Where we want to get our value for money in terms of the taxes that we are paying. I just want to expand a little on one of the themes you mentioned about the kind of connections you have. When you are financially independent, when you are getting to a certain point, you have the confidence to ask, to speak to certain people who otherwise you would not have been comfortable speaking to, or you'd have felt shy to speak to. I see that there are a lot of men on this right now on the call. Classic example. If you are in a trotro, will you see somebody driving a nice recent model Camry and go and have a conversation with the person? I know some hard guys who go and do it, but on a normal day, a normal guy, would you do that? No. You understand? Likewise, if you are driving a nice Corolla, young man, you've got your nice Corolla, maybe the model is 3-4 years old. Will you see someone in a Range Rover and go and move to that person? No. You feel held back. But when you yourself, you pull out of your Range Rover or even recent model Camry or something, I don't know what's the craze these days in Ghana, but latest car, and then you step out wearing your nice kaftan, or maybe you have some nice gray and black beard like Adam, dressed nicely, going for this wedding. You feel confident. You understand? Then you move with the confidence, and then you can speak to pretty much anybody, and that kind of confidence will open up these doors, these kind of connections that Prince is talking about. And those connections, Charlie, once you start getting them, there are gifts that just keep on giving. So let's keep that in mind as we are thinking about our motivations. It's not just about the material things, but also the intangible things. The warmth, some of them will give you warm, fuzzy feelings to motivate you to keep going. All right, let's switch over, Adam. How about you? Any examples about the kind of confidence that financial independence has brought? And it could be your own experience. It could be other people's experiences that you've observed. And let me issue a disclaimer at this point. I'm in no way, shape, or form saying that any of us who are speaking have reached. We've not reached at all. But it's also about seeing the progress in the journey and seeing the benefits as they come. So that's the disclaimer. Adam, any thoughts?
Charlie, thank you very much for that disclaimer, because Charlie,
before the flock come rushing.
If that Elike, we are just starting.
We are just trying to have a discussion and a conversation. That's all. Before it turns into something else, we beg. Anyway, so I think what Prince talked about the kinds of networks. And, it's interesting. We said something last week about the way like attracts like. And when people get to certain levels, it opens certain doors that otherwise would not be open to them. So imagine getting to a place where you are now probably like the largest minority shareholder, or individual shareholder in a company. The kinds of doors that alone opens for you is obviously different from what the kinds of doors that open for me automatically at this stage. So I look at some people, I deal with quite a number of people, and you just even look amongst ourselves, look at the trust fund kids and the kinds of things they are able to do, or the kinds of places they are able to go to, just by virtue of the fact that probably somebody has been able to lay down that basics for them. So the networks it opens up for you. It's like, I don't know how to quantify it. And in life, I've come to realize so far that sometimes it's not even about having money, but sometimes the contacts and the kinds of things they can assist you to do when you are trying to get certain things done. Sometimes you have a lot of money necessarily. People, the contacts, well, what are they able to help you to do? You want to, especially in our part of the world, you know that it is very difficult to get things done. But when you have the right people around you, you're able to scale maybe half of the problem that would have. So for me, I believe that one of the things that this does is to open doors, help you to scale challenges that would have, or obstacles that would have hindered you in achieving something, and you're able to get to your destination even quicker and faster than you otherwise would have. Yeah, so basically those are my initial thoughts on it.
Okay, great, Adam. Thanks for sharing those. Something that you were saying that that caught my ear and my attention fully. It's about, you see the system in Ghana and how difficult it is for things to get done. Just being financially independent puts you in a certain position where you know how to, where you can easily smoothen the processes for yourself. I'm not talking about Adam. What was the term you used some weeks ago? Some is this something fee or was it facilitation fee? No, it was a different term you used. Do you remember?
Yeah, it was facilitation. Oh no. Oh come on, that came on the spur of the moment. I don't even know where it passed.
Yes, we are not talking about that. Okay, yeah.
No, yeah, not that. Yeah.
But sometimes it's about. Let me put it this way: there are people who will be corrupt, and I'm not encouraging anyone to say go bribing your way through things. Okay, but it's about how people see you, your kind of confidence you exude. How would they be thinking about you? Sometimes people will just be thinking, you know what, this person. Let me say it in Twi first. It sounds like Misha Kweya or say Bema or say in your nyam for my tree may not be coming out right. This person looks like an honorable person just because of how you're able to carry yourself. All right. I'm not another disclaimer I'll make at this point is we are not encouraging people to make flagrant displays of wealth, because we know that some people do this and they can't afford it and it's just to look. No, we are not talking about that. We are talking about when you are at a certain point and you just have some of these things, they just come by the by. Like, okay, you've been using Huawei phone for a long time. Now you've gotten to a point where buying iPhone is just a fraction of your monthly salary, a tiny fraction. It won't make a dent, or some profit you got from some business. It won't make a dent. It's just a portion of a windfall. We're not talking about when you go and buy an iPhone and it's 3-4 months salary. No, that's not what we are talking about. So as you are doing these things and you are carrying yourself around in your natural course of things without offending anyone, people would observe you. You go into a government facility. Sometimes, the person may not even ask you for any money straight away, but they would be thinking in their minds, this person looks like they have the capacity to help me in one way or in some shape, one way or another, right? So they will be more willing to assist you. They'll be more willing to hear what you are saying rather than somebody who just walks in and, they're just treating them as business as usual. Yeah, whatever. Come here. Go and come. Every day, go and come. But when you come, oh, please, yes, sir. Welcome. How may we help you? Oh, you've not gotten your file. You've not gotten your documents. Oh, they'll shut us some national service person to go and bring the documents for you. It's that kind of thing. Again, disclaimer, we are not saying go force these things. But if it comes as your natural, when you get to that point and you are properly financially independent, when you understand some of these things and you are just doing it by the way, it won't even be a show of force. It won't be a show of wealth. It's just you moving in the space that you've come to occupy and you've come to understand that you have a right to occupy. And some of these blessings will come to you, or these benefits will come to you just by the way. It's something happened just a couple of weeks ago. Some of you know how I'm spending my summer. And I was having a conversation at a company event and somebody was sitting there. We're just talking. This person, of course, older gentleman, he's been working for close to 20 years. And he makes a statement. Like we were talking, I was like, oh, so, I'm new in this town. What do you do for fun? Blah, blah, blah. He was telling me some stuff and it was like, oh yeah, and also we go fishing in the lake house, blah, blah, blah. And then he continued talking. In my mind, I'm like, hey, pause, rewind. Are you just talking casually about having a lake house? Even though you have like a main house, you have a vacation home, those things, you're just talking about it as if it's casual conversation. Now, where does my mind go as I'm talking to this person? Last night, I went for a friend's birthday party. I was talking to someone. Normal guy, interesting guy. He said hello to me. I returned. He's like, oh, I look like an Ethiopian he knows. And this person is Indian. And I was like, oh no, I'm from, is that person as good looking as me? Just making jokes and we're going, how boys, we do it. So we're going back and forth and we're talking. And then he was talking about how he's going back to India and just casually, he mentioned his net worth to me. And I was shocked. Just sitting, like my perception, like at that point, I was like, see, sit down, tell me how you did this. Let's talk some more. Like, that's the kind of access, the kind of exposure I to give to people. And then even people will be willing to do things for you just because of the kind of perception you have. And these people I'm talking about, it's not like it's not like they volunteered they volunteered this information. The way the conversation was going, these were details that just couldn't be left out. You pick up on some of these things, so yeah. Being financially independent can really smoothen things for you, can improve the kind of relationships that you have, and speaking of relationships, just one last thing before I ask another question, right? Sometimes as people are growing up, and I'm sure those of us who are approaching 30 and or have passed it, it's a dilemma that we are facing. Our mindsets are different from other people, from some of the friends that we grew up with, our ride or die homies. We hang out with them, we drink with them, we do all those things. It's one thing for someone to have a positive mindset. That's good. If you have friends who have that positive mindset, that's great. But it gets to a point where when your results start showing and your taste improve, okay, you want to go to these other kind of restaurants, you want to go to these other kind of places, you want to take these kind of road trips, or you want to do certain things, then you start saying, you know what? I don't want to go alone. I want to go with certain friends, but I can't take this other friend because maybe one, I can't afford to pay for one person. I can't afford to pay for two people. Or even if you can afford to pay for the other person, like how will the person feel about it? Or is the person going to be wanting to mooch on you or something, and always come back and keep asking because, okay, they see that you've got it. It starts getting you into these kind of mindsets. So if you are not financially independent, understanding that this is how people who are financially independent or have some level of income or wealth or some stable level, this is how they are thinking. So if you are not there and you start seeing that certain people are pulling away from you, you need to ask yourself, am I depriving myself of being around some of these people? And hopefully this can be a point of motivation for you to say that, you know what, when they pay, or you're going to draw your budget today, so that when they pay, you know where exactly you're going to invest the money or where you're going to hide it. I hope that these anecdotes that we are given would really motivate people to do these things. So yeah, let's go to another angle, a more social angle. I wonder if it's valid in Ghana, but I was listening to a podcast, Patrick Bet-David, and he has this podcast, Valuetainment, lately in the mornings after listening to the news. That's what I listen to, for the motivation. Not his more recent ones, his older ones. The older ones, he talks about, self-development, being an entrepreneur. And I'm not necessarily an entrepreneur. I see myself more as an intrapreneur. But some of these values, if you as a professional, as an individual, you have them to help you. But then I realized that his content, the more recent ones, are more political. I'm in the US now. I avoid politics on a normal day, even when I was back in Ghana, and even more so in somebody else's country. I'll avoid their politics. So I don't like to hear some of these things. But then he said something in a podcast, in one episode that he titled Certain Expectations. And he said this: if you notice that now his conversations are being less about running a business, less about self-development and all that, it's becoming more political, he wants you to understand that, guess what? That's the trend. It's deliberate. And it's because over the years, over the decades, he's made so much money. He's contributed so much to the economy, created so many jobs, made many families wealthy or come out of poverty, paid so many taxes in income tax, capital gains tax, his real estate, everything, like even when he's paying for things, sales tax and all those things. He's contributing so much to the economy. When he's seeing things in the society go wrong, it annoys him. He can't help but complain. He can't help but start to talk about it with the hope that other people also observe these things and speak up, and it will drive change. And he can't help but be moved to a point where he want to take some action, of course, democratically. He did say that, of course, he doesn't want to be a president. He doesn't believe he'll be a good president, but he wants to be involved in the political process in some way. And that's quite a powerful statement. Can you imagine when you get to that point? When you are financially independent, or you are even beyond that, when you get to a point where you are rubbing shoulders with people who are making decisions, even small, like you start realizing that, you actually can't talk to the person. People will listen to you because you have enough followers, or you are influential in your church enough to say that, no, this church, the direction that we are taking, this expense that we are doing is not the right way we should be spending our money. We should spend it more on evangelism. So you can say that, okay, fine, then I'm going to join the harvest committee, and then I'm going to use my influence to say that, no, let's stop doing the wrong thing and let's start doing the right thing. Let's start supporting welfare needs of our less privileged members. You won't just be sitting on the fence. So these are some of the social causes that when you can afford it, you're able to put your money where your mouth is, and the whole society will be better for you for it. And you have this confidence to walk around. Let's see, Adam, I just gave a church example, but do you know any such people, or maybe yourself, that you've seen these? It's how financial independence motivates people to act more on social or maybe even political level to influence change. And then we come to Prince. And yeah, sorry, Adam, before you go, anyone in our audience, please feel free to jump in on this conversation. Hopefully other people are also on this path. And I know we are all not there yet, but maybe we've started seeing the sign. Let's share these experiences so that people will be motivated and you see the light at the end of the tunnel. So Adam, over to you.
Yeah, I think just flowing from what you were talking about, I think in our country now, it's actually obvious that if you are in a certain position, you could help to influence change. And the fact is that if you sat on the fence, the actions or inactions of leadership will affect you, as you could see with the debt exchange. All the people who we have been talking about investments and putting your monies in several places, you see that when it got to the pension bondholders, they were able to come together. I believe that those are most people who have been able to save quite a lot of money and for their retirements and what have you. You saw the way government could not just bulldoze their way with them, because they sort of like were able to form a collective, and this because these people were able to kind of wield some kind of influence to affect policy directions. So it's a place that naturally I believe that when we are rising and we are getting towards financial independence, we should be wielding our influence in terms of policy directions, in terms of the and even in our social spaces wherever we find ourselves. Imagine you've gotten to a certain level of financial independence, and then there are some decisions being taken in your child's school. Obviously, you would be able to wield some influence over there. So I believe that once you get financial independence, or you're on the way towards financial independence, those are some of the areas you should be looking at causing influence in your social circles, and also the leadership at the national level or whichever level you find yourself.
Thank you, Adam. What you were saying about school, you got me thinking about PTA, parent-teacher associations, the kind of people who are influential on there. Sometimes it's the people who have money, sometimes the people who volunteer a lot, or it's the people who just can talk. So these are all different dimensions that you can influence society. If you are feeling helpless about the things that go on in society, please, an option for you is financial independence. You see that if talk would help in Ghana, all our problems would be resolved, because you tune into the radio every morning in Ghana. In fact, morning, afternoon, evening, and people are just complaining the whole time. All that talk hasn't solved our problem. It's money that talks. And like Prince aptly named today's session, money stops nonsense. So when you see the nonsense going on, and you have some money to kind of to wield some influence legitimately, then you can use it to make sure that the nonsense stops. Prince, how about you? What do you think? Have you seen any such experiences?
Okay, so for me, I will use talk about the church.
Prince, sorry, your volume is quite low.
Is it better now?
Yeah, better.
Okay, all right. So I'm saying that I will cite. I'll use the church setting to make a point, right? So I fellowship with the Church of Pentecost, right? And within the church, we have some people that when they talk, the leadership of the church listens, right? So I can talk of Zoom Lion, I can talk of Tobinko. These are people that so let's say my branch, I was at Teshinungwa branch, and that is where Zoom Lion grew up from. Yeah, so we were trying to build, and we invited him to come as we were coming to do some fundraising for the church building. And when he came, he was supposed to lead the offertory, right? So he started off, and just the opening, just starting off, he said he was going to start off with 50,000 Ghana cedis. And this is not a check. This is money in portmanteau, like feel, you can see the money. He asked the driver to bring it from the car onto the podium. And from there, we were able to achieve our target to go to build the building we wanted to, right? And these are people that when the leadership of the church is doing something, when they say something in the settings of the church, the leadership listen to, and they don't take, they treat them in a certain kind of way. Let me put it that way. Like when you talk about Tobinko, when you talk about Zoom Lion, I have been under the tutelage of Zoom Lion because I grew up from the district that he was from, which is Teshinungwa. So the church itself, when you talk about the area, they don't treat him like lightly at all. When you talk about even the local, when they come to church, the kind of scenes you see when I mean church is going on and other things, you should understand that these are people that definitely, because of their wealth, that is how come they are, enjoying this kind of treatment from the church. So for me, I think that if it wasn't so, because even for the fact that he as a person, he has also employed a lot of people who are Church of Pentecost people, because he has a lot of businesses. Talk about Millennium Insurance, talk about Metro TV, Zoom Lion itself. I mean, he has also given employment to a lot of Pentecost people. So putting all these factors together, the church don't take it lightly when it comes to treatment that they give to him. So for me, I feel that even if it wasn't for the money, I don't think that he will be getting that special treatment. He will be having a say in most of the things that the church does, but it's because of the money, right? So we here too, I feel that in our churches, maybe there are certain things going on, and you can't have a say. Yeah. So I will cite an example. We were trying to we're organizing a Christmas convention, and the electrician, we went to the grounds to set up the place for the convention, and the one who was the electrician got electrocuted on site. Actually, he got electrocuted when he was working with the electricity, and he passed on. And he had a son and a daughter. So in my mind, I felt, oh, this is somebody who was working for the church. So if it happens that due to this, the person is no more, the church can set up a fund for the family and the mother and the daughter, and that is it. They will get to live and not worry about. But it was so surprising that when at the Sunday of the conversion, they brought the offertory bowl that we all know our brother was working for the Lord and passed away, and so we want to do this offertory in support of the family. I was like, what? What are they saying? Is it because, like, how much is the offertory going to do for the family? And I got so pissed off. But at that point, Master, nothing in their pocket. Okay, who are you going to talk to? Who are you going to lament to? Because I mean, you don't have a say. And for me, I feel that supposing if that time I was better off financially, I could have, tell the pastor that no, I feel the church should do better, because this is somebody who was working for you and the person died. Why are you letting this offertory is so small for the family? Who is going to, and the child is a kid, right? So for me, I feel financial independence is very important. Regardless of the assets, it brings a whole lot of benefits when it comes to some of these things. Thank you.
Charlie. Heavy. It's heavy, Charlie. It's sad, some of these things, when they happen, but then we just need to be able to put ourselves in a position where we won't just say, we will be in a position to call the authorities or the people responsible. And like this founder, you said, if Prince had the money, he would have talked to the pastor or whoever and said, okay, you know what, let's do this thing. I am starting with this, a check of this, and he sends his check. No, the founder started. No long things, you know. So that's sad, but you know, being financially independent really can help you drive solutions. Speaking of driving solutions, when you're at that point, you start to see fewer impossibilities and you start to see more possibilities. It will do you a whole lot of good. When you start seeing, no, I can do this. Oh yeah, but and usually it's not just about having the money. The things that it takes to get to being financially independent, the kind of discipline that you've mastered to get to that point, how you've controlled all your expenditure, you've delayed gratification, all those kind of skills, all those values that you've held up to this point, they will only make you get bigger and bigger and bigger. So it will take a while for the 2 digits, maybe 50 CDs, small, to become hundreds of CDs, to become thousands of CDs, then 10,000 plus. But at that point, it's like an avalanche that has started with a snowball. It's just going to be big. It's just going to, in fact, it's going to snowball from something small to a very big thing, you know. So it's.
Hello, Alekem. Okay. All right.
Yeah, Prince, you were flashing your mic. Did you want to say something?
Oh, no. I think you went off a little, so I was trying to see if you are around.
Okay, pardon me. There was a call coming through. I'm put on do not disturb. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's it. Mimi, welcome to today's conversation. Feel free to request the mic if you're in a position to speak up. But yeah, we'll start wrapping up this conversation. Just a few quick points that I just want us to discuss if we can, and see if anyone has those experiences. I recall it was Mimi who mentioned this when we were planning about this discussion. When there are ups and downs. So we've spoken about financial independence, right? But then people who have actually felt the differences in how they are treated are people who have gone through the ups and downs, up and down. If you were okay and you hit a rough patch, maybe you lost your job, COVID, you were laid off or something, or your company folded, or entrepreneur, your business just didn't go well, bad harvest, you lost all your flock, or if you're in agric or something, that's when you see the differences in it. And especially, it's interesting, you see a lot of men. From where we are, especially for men, your ego is tied to your ability to provide. Even if whether you're in a relationship or not, just provide or be a productive member of society. It takes a hit on you, So being financially independent, I feel like it gives you some level of emotional, mental stability or comfort from which you can progress with the rest of your life. I think that's a benefit that we can't lose sight of. You think about other the kind of comfort or even a safety net, like that okay, if you fall sick, you are fine. You're financially independent, you've bought a car, you can afford to pay for comprehensive insurance instead of third party. That way, when you're driving, you're not so scared. Not saying go drive about badly and recklessly. That's what Prince and his people call moral hazard. No, we're not talking about that. But we are saying that you can operate through life knowing that you have a certain level of safety net. It will give you the courage to move forward with other things. So you see that it's a journey. The financial independence will be a journey. It's not a destination. It's something that you've gotten to a certain point, and the benefits that you've gotten, they will help you push to the next level and the next and the next and the next. So I really encourage everyone. Once you get on that path, you don't have a budget, you just drop a budget. You start putting some money away, you see the benefits. I insisted on a friend a couple of months ago that, you know what, you're getting paid a lot of money. All these years you've been earning so much money, you have nothing to show for it now. Yeah, you hit a couple of rough patches, but you've been out of that rough patch for 2 years. You've not been saving. Every week, put money out of your paycheck aside. Guess what? The person hit a rough patch, out of work for a while. At least, this was something that the person could fall on for a while until things got better. So these things would happen. The ups and downs will happen. But once you are able to get to that point, you can recover, and you even have a safety net. So yeah, let's see. Mimi, do you have any thoughts on this topic? You know what we've been talking about? We've been talking about the kind of confidence, emotional safety that financial independence brings. The less tangible benefits, the respect you get from others. So far, we've spoken about how it can smoothen all the difficult procedures in society for you, those kind of benefits. Can you speak to any personal experiences or any other experiences you've observed of people that you've seen that, no, this person was able to move in a certain way because they were financially independent?
Hello, everyone. Good evening. Yeah, I totally agree that money brings you some peace of mind, some respect, some sort of comfort that you cannot necessarily quantify. When it comes to what you're talking about, not necessarily a story, but allow me to be a bishop's friend today. Today I'm your friend. So I've been reading the story of Job, recently, and for the first time, I'm like, wow, I always read it, but I just like, but this is a guy that, was respected. He had stuff. Everybody respected him, the old man, the young man. I mean, and then now he's broke, and even the young men who used to respect him don't respect him anymore. It's it really rang a bell that Charlie in life, sometimes when you have money, people respect you. You have a place in society because you have money. Once that money disappears, forget, that also disappears. So it's true that money is tied to some level of respect. Even certain doors will be open to you. You sit among certain people just because you have money. Sometimes not necessarily because you have sense or anything to bring on board, but people sort of think that once you have money, you must have had some wisdom, to be able to get there. So why don't we, give you a seat among the kings? Or because you have money, of course, money answers all things. So you bring some of the money and then we'll be able to use it to solve one or two problems. And for an individual, I feel like money gives you options. So you are working somewhere, you are tired, you can just decide, I'm taking a break for a year. I just want to explore. I just want to go around the world and explore, have different ideas, come back with fresh ideas. But for most of us, especially in this, you can't even afford to dream or think about it because I don't know, even 1 week after you leave the job, you'll be hungry. There's this research that we are doing, a friend of mine, Jerome, is doing, and it turns out that even for people who earn 20,000 and above, a lot of them don't have emergency savings. A lot of people don't even know what emergency savings are. That means that when this 20,000 dries up, that is it, back to the ground. So I think that it's essential for us to take care of our finances. I feel it gives you some level of peace of mind, some level of comfort to be able to think long term rather than be thinking about bread and butter. Of course, it does open opportunities for you. I hope that you would also, let me add myself, I would also have the wisdom as much as I have the resources to be able to sit on certain tables or to be able to sit among kings, not just because I have money, but I do think that money really opens doors for you as an individual. And I mean, in terms of your own mental health and your own well-being, as well as doors in terms of how other people perceive you and opportunities that they bring before you.
Thank you, Mimi. At least we've, if not for anything at all, we've realized that when Mimi reaches that point, that's a key point in her financial independence journey, and she's tired of the current career path. She'll take a break, and we won't hear from her because she's traveling around the world. So when we can't reach Mimi, people know where she's gonna be. Okay, all right. Maybe it's I like how you started with Job. It got me thinking about a book I read recently, Jewish Wisdom for Business. It's Business Success. I think that's the title. Jewish Wisdom for Business Success. And somewhere in the book it said that before somebody back in the old days, before somebody would be selected as a high priest, that person needed to be wealthy or needed to be successful in their field. Because it's assumed that if somebody has been successful in a certain to a certain level in one field or industry that they've been in, that person knows the process of success and they can run the temple well, or they can be a good priest. So some people will say it's a halo effect, but I'll say certain transferable skills, and people can trust that you can have those transferable skills and use it in the new role that you have. Anyway, I'll talk about pastors and churches, but anyway, so yeah, there's that. I see we have a member of the audience, Emmanuel, requested for the mic. Emmanuel is an old childhood friend, and he's been supporting the background, retweeting and resharing some of our stuff. So glad he could join us to speak up today. Emmanuel, what are your thoughts on today's conversation?
Yeah, Adam. Good evening, everyone. I believe you can hear me, right?
Yeah.
So Mimi did share some of the sentiment, and I believe that for most of us joining the space, we're looking to get some ideas on how probably we can grow money. You understand? Because where we find ourselves, especially in Ghana, the pay rate is at times very bad. So probably the questions will be centered around two or three thoughts. Maybe in the next episodes, you may want to tackle some of those things around, like I said, how to grow money. Right now, the market is very unstable. Treasury bills rates are very high, but a financial advisor will tell you that it's not worth the risk. So then, how do we grow money? You want to invest, save, and the banks are also folding up, right? Sometimes getting even your access to your money is a hell. So then, how are you able to even afford life? And remember when we were speaking earlier today, I mentioned that I shared a post from a friend that spoke about the fact that this is even basic needs. What about self-actualization? And I think most of the stories that you shared, I think most people are reaching the self-actualization. All right. I hope that speaks to me.
Yeah, I get the sentiments you are sharing. Just on the last part, I want to repeat the disclaimer I gave earlier. The experiences that we are speaking about from our personal experiences, we've not reached self-actualization yet. No. I'll give you a good example. I turned 30 this year, and I'm yet to celebrate it because I've not reached. But people will see where I am and the things I've done, and they'll say I've reached. But I guess self-actualization is just it's subjective, But yeah, we've not reached. But yes, I think I can speak for myself comfortably. Say that there was a point where I got my head above water, where I could take care of myself to a point, where I could take care of my family to a point, where I could where I had a life-threatening sickness and I could pay out of pocket without flinching. It wiped me clean, almost clean, but I was at least it didn't disrupt too many other plans. Yes, there's that, but let's not assume that these experiences are coming from people who have reached. It's a journey. Financial independence is a journey. For example, you realize that your goal maybe you want to start get to a point where you are earning $100,000, 100,000 cedis a month. Nice lofty goal. Even let's say 20,000 cedis a month. But when you start from national service, 599, every as you keep growing it, you get to the point of 2,000. You realize that certain things you are in a better place than when you were doing 599. Then you get to a point where maybe you add some side hustles and all that. You get to 5,000. You're not at the 20,000 yet, but you start feeling a bit of a difference. If you're saving money, you see that the money that you've saved is growing. Anyway, that's just on the latter end, just to dissuade anyone who may think this is not a conversation for you. What I would say about the topics that we are discussing, I'm glad that you've been motivated that, okay, now I want to do this thing, and you want to look at that. We have these are conversations that are recorded, and we've been doing this for 2 years. Most of the conversations from then have been recorded. So I just want to encourage you, go on our YouTube channel and also anywhere you listen to podcasts, or even on our Twitter profile. Just keep scrolling down. You see multiple ones, but I'll show you. If you go on YouTube and you search in our channel, you can actually search for some of these topics. So anyone listening, pull out your pen and paper or pull out your notepad. I want to list out off a couple of topics that will be relevant for you, and you will see just go look up these episodes, right? So starting from the more recent ones that we've published. On June 5th, we published an episode about real estate investments. Maybe for people just starting, this may not be so for you, but we made certain points in there that will help you in case you are thinking about real estate. Growing your income. The last 2 weeks, we've been having a conversation about starting off your national service. I feel like if you are still a young adult, you've been working for 2-3 years, these are still lessons that you can learn from. 29th May, we uploaded one on CD investments versus dollar investments. You were talking about banks folding up and all that in Ghana, and these are some of the concerns that people may have. So things to think about. Even before that, we've also had a conversation about how to compare investments. All right. There's another episode we had a couple of weeks ago about how to use AI to increase your income. how to use artificial intelligence to increase your income. You've been hearing a lot about GPT. Ghanaians like saying chat GTP. Please, it's not cloth. Right? It's chat GPT. We've talked about how to use those tools to improve, whether it's the writing you do, it's academics, or how you improve your resume and all that stuff. Go listen to them. And there are many, 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 many more. Let me even flip further, go back. Black tax in hard times. That's like holding your money for you. Let's see, business ideas. We've talked about how to get business ideas, investments that you can start now. Actually, we had one recently, May 17th. That's when it was published. Simple investments you can start now. May 7th, we published low cost business ideas. If you are thinking about education, on 27th April, we published funding higher education. So my whole answer to you is, it's a good question you've asked, but for today's topic, we can't answer those questions. But what we can say is we've had these discussions multiple times, and I encourage you, go through our archive, go through our YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts, listen to these topics again, and you can apply them to your to make sure that you become financially independent. Mimi, how about you? What do you think in response to Manuel's question?
Yeah, I mean, ahead of looking at how do I increase my income, my question is, how are you managing what you have? Because if you don't deal with that, any increment that comes in, trust me, will find a way, will find somewhere to disappear to. And I do understand where you're coming from, Emmanuel, because I'm also at that point where I'm wondering, okay, Mimi, what next? How can we, increase this? Of course, on Money Convos, we've spoken about anything and everything. So there are millions is quite an exaggeration. There's a lot of stuff you can find on our podcast. But I would want to say that if you are working, a lot of us, when we are working for someone, we associate increment of income with our bosses increasing our salaries. But let's also remember that the system that we are in, we are all in it together. Like, we are all struggling in it together. Yes, some bosses, some companies are wicked and all. They could pay more and are not paying more. But the system is hot. So these days, my question is, what can I do? Like, how can I position myself to attract money? Because I have people who are doing well. Like this year that everybody is feeling hot, some people are collecting dollars because they have positioned themselves to see opportunities and to take advantage of those opportunities. So one thing that hit me this week is there's some skill sets that I'm quite good at, but I've been running away from because I don't really want to do. I realize that, look, this may be my cocoa season, or this may be my seed, so I better own it and hone that skill and be the best at it so that I can attract. So it's just like sitting with yourself and reflecting and looking at, what can you do? Because a lot of the time we want it to come from the employer, but I feel like that may be a lazy way around it. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you, Mimi. It's what are you doing with what you already have? That's a very good point. If you don't manage the lifestyle inflation, if you don't manage your expectation, the money that you have, you will always run out of money. There are people who make $700,000 a year and they have negative net worth because in the words of medical, when you get money, you put it in your mouth. You spend the money, but you want to buy Range Rover. You understand? So it happens, and we observe these things even in the book. In one of the books that we read, The Millionaire Next Door. Even in the US, where there are so many millionaires, the difference between people. It showed an example of two surgeons. Both make around 700,000, but one spends all the money, doesn't even have a budget, doesn't know how much the family have on their credit cards and all that, and the other has net worth in excess of 3.5 million. Of course, that's far away, but think about this. You could have two people in Ghana. two of, and then they both earn 1,500 cedis, for example. One can make it their mind that, you know what, I'm going to close off my mind and imagine I earn only 1,200 so that I can save 300. Another person will think I earn 1,005 and I'm going to and have no choice but to spend all the 1,005 because they are all necessary expenses. My question to you is, if you are right now, you're saying you're earning 1,005, it's not enough, no problem. If you were earning 1,002, what would you do? So that's also just to buttress Mimi's points. That's some of the mindsets you should be having as you think through how to become financially independent. Prince, perhaps the last take on this topic and then start wrapping up.
Okay, so I just tweeted our podcast link. So Emmanuel, you can please follow it to get some of the things that we've talked about. I think we've done a lot when it comes to investing and all, where you should put your money and the due diligence and all that. But what I want to say is attaining financial independence is pretty simple. It's about living on less than you make and saving the rest and doing so for a long period of time. That is how come you achieve financial independence, right? And for that bit, it's just there. But you also look at what you are doing for the money to come in, for you to start now making informed decision about the money coming in, right? And I think Mimi said it, that you need to look at learning a skill. You have to look at not the normal norm. You know, some people, they are not making the money. They are just complaining. They are not doing anything. But I feel that we should move from that angle to the angle where you are looking to acquire a skill set. You are looking at doing something that will bring value to you, right? Yeah. So I think it's something that you can look at out for, because myself, I've loved to know the skill of copywriting. I started, I stopped, but I mean, this year I took it again and I'm doing it, and it's been so great. So I feel that you should look at that angle, and we should not deceive ourselves that Ghana is hard, I understand, but we should not also get it wrong that the money in Ghana has not been transported to Togo. The money is still in Ghana, but it is in circulation. You need to do something to attract the money. We should not get that one wrong. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prince. Dissuading the minds. The money is in circulation. It hasn't run away. Find a way to attract it. I like that. Okay, guys. It's been an interesting conversation. We've been looking at the non-tangible benefits that come with financial independence. And this just got me thinking, as we've thought about the benefits of financial independence, I can imagine there are some negatives about it. Perhaps we'll come up with another session where we'll discuss the negatives of financial independence. That would be an interesting one. But yeah, thank you all for sharing your experiences. You know, it's put you on the spot, and some family members and some people who look up to you will be saying, so Prince, you're financially independent, and yeah, the next school fees is on you. I hope this is not what people will be taking away from it. Let's understand that it's a journey, and we are all some way on it. I would say, listen, I understand the humility and all and trying to avoid these things, but I would say, frankly, I feel like after 7 years of working, by the time I was done, where I took a career break, I looked back and I went like, you know what? All that small 100 cedis at the time that I started with, all that every year I increased it by 50 cedis, then to a point increased it by 100 cedis every month, putting money aside. I saw that it came to help me. I kid you not, it came to help me. Today, I went to the ATM to withdraw from my pension account, Charlie, because I realized that, so if I hadn't been doing tier 3, when I became hot, I wouldn't have been able to withdraw from it. It was the last resort, but Charlie, last, take the tax cut, the tax penalty, and fall on it, because Charlie, times are tough. But if I hadn't followed these principles, I would not have even had that last buffer to hold me down. You know, it's it's one thing to be humble, and it's another thing to also be honest and share our experiences with people to know that, you know what, these things are real. We don't just talk about principles, but there are things that we are living on. And the hope is that people look at these stories as we share them in a positive light, that people will be motivated to know that it can be done. And you'll be inspired to go listen to other conversations that we've had in our podcast. And Prince has shared the link. I've also shared another one for other platforms that you can use. And not see this as an avenue to say, well, then I'm going to come and ask these people for money, because I can assure you we are not there yet. It's a journey and we are trying to get there. So thank you all for sharing your personal stories. And thank you, Emmanuel. It was a very good question. I'm sure it was on many people's minds and something that people just rule out and then just move on to the next thing. But it gave us an opportunity to clarify that for you and show you new resources. So thank you all. I know it's this Sunday night may not be the most opportune time, but due to time zone differences and all, and we all want to play an active role. So in sharing the word, this is the best compromise we could make at this point. Fortunately, we have our podcast running. We have Dennis doing the regular uploads, and he's doing a good job of it, so that even if you miss it on Sunday, you can go back and learn and listen to it at your spare time when you are doing something else. I encourage people to listen to podcasts when you are commuting. If you are not driving, even better. If you are driving, don't listen to the toxic Ghana radio where people are complaining all the time. Yes, listen to some good music every now and then, but also listen to some inspiring, some educational content. Podcasts help you do that. And don't just keep it to yourself. Follow us and share it. Tell your friends about this. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Go to YouTube. Subscribe to that channel. Wherever you listen to podcasts, subscribe to it there. And also go on Investment Friend on Instagram at investment_friend, where we take it a step further. Here at Money Convos, we have these discussions. At Investment Friend, we take it a step further and get more closer to getting you your solution that's dependent, that will work for you, where we can direct you, say, okay, based on this that you've told us, this is what we encourage you to do. It's not necessarily financial advising, but it's better guidance, because what we say at Money Convos may not apply to you as an individual. So please go on Instagram, follow at investment_friend, Investment Friend. The content there is really fun. It's really exciting. You see Mimi and Sayram doing some pretty interesting dances and stuff. So yeah, it's really good stuff. And then share with other people. If we surround ourselves with financially independent people, we'll have fewer burdens to carry. We'll be able to move the social agendas that are on our hearts forward, and we'll have a better Ghana and better world to live in. Thank you all once again, and catch you again next week, Sunday at 8 p.m. GMT. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our thoughts. I hope you learned a thing or two and start practicing. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Clubhouse, and Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube and podcast. Do tell a friend about Money Convos so we all become wealthy together. Talk to you soon. Bye.